Welcome back to Mark Haney, igniting the entrepreneurial revolution with the Haney Biz Project.
Welcome back to the Haney Biz Project, brought to you courtesy of Hub International. I'm Mark Haney, and today we have four of us here talking about banking, or getting ready to talk about banking. We brought on, of course, you know, James Beckwith, 5 Star Bank. He was in the last segment. Bringing in Josh Wood, the president, CEO of Region Business. And now we also have Mr. Pat Hume, city councilman, city of Elk Grove. And we're going to break some news, and I'm going to start with you, Mr. Wood. Josh, what's going on here in community banking that we've got to tell people about?
Well, today's an exciting day because we're announcing with Elk Grove a new partnership to secure $15 million that will be placed into local banks, and that money will be reinvested, a large portion of it, into the community of Elk Grove to help businesses expand. It's a first-in-the-nation type of project where we're basically saying that we're going to keep our money here in this region, and we're going to have cities put money into banks, and those banks will reinvest in our community. And it's really, what we're doing is we're just asking ourselves a simple question. Do we want our money working for other regions or overseas for businesses, or do we want it working here for us?
Okay, so let me, I'm going to slow this down for me, the C student. Now, I'm on the board of Region Business with you, so I know this a little bit because we work on this at Region Business, but you have these cities like the city of Elk Grove or Roseville or Sacramento, and if they take their money and commit to keeping it in a local bank, that does what? That allows the banks to then go ahead and lend the money back here locally?
Absolutely. It unlocks the economic potential we already have. We have amazing local banks here in this community with leaders who are making decisions on loans here in this community. And so why not keep the money here and make it so that those dollars stay here in this community? But the exciting thing about this proposal, which we're calling RISE, is that those banks are committing as part of this that over 50% of those funds are being lent back into the community to help businesses expand.
Wow.
It's a concrete way to do economic development.
Wow, growing the local region. Pat Hume, city councilman, share with us what went into your thoughts as you made this decision, because there's all kinds of places you could put your money. Why keep it local?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me here on the Haney Biz Project. You know, I'll be humble enough to admit I'm not a smart enough guy to hatch these ideas,
okay,
but I'm smart enough to recognize the genius in them when they're laid at my feet.
Yeah.
And so we were already investing this money in what's called the Local Agency Investment Fund, which is a statewide fund that essentially does this same thing. It takes cash equivalents and makes it available back out into the communities, but that's on a statewide basis with no strings coming back to the community from whence the money originated. So the simplicity of this is it's money that's generated locally, it gets invested locally, and then it's put to work locally. And so I think of it kind of like taking municipal finance and using it as a VC fund for startups, for expansions, and for construction loans and the like.
Gotcha. Now, there's multiple banks. You have choices as to where you put your money, right? You're in the city of Elk Grove. You're going to put $15 million into local banks, local community banks, right, so that it can be redeployed out to small business guys. How do you choose the bank? Do you have a limited number, or is it always 5-star?
So here's, well, it may always be 5-star. Depends on James if he could sharpen his pencil well enough or what.
Yeah, it is. Business.
The criteria was this. They either have to have a physical branch, they have to be regionally headquartered and have a physical branch in Elk Grove,
okay,
or be within the greater Sacramento and or San Joaquin FDIC geographical regions.
Okay, so I'm going to bring in James here. So somebody, one of these municipalities, Elk Grove, let's say they put their money in your bank. Do you have to loan it back to Elk Grove citizens, or is it the overall region?
Well, we take a pretty specific approach. If you know, in terms of Elk Grove, any monies that they deposited to us, we would make sure that, you know, we did our best job to go ahead and make loans within Elk Grove. We're committing to do at least 50%. We hope to do a lot more than that. And Mark, there's a reporting aspect of this. We can all say we're going to do this, but we're going to put some teeth behind this and actually report maybe on a semi-annual basis. And here's what you've given us, and here's what we've done with it.
Yeah.
But we also want to partner with the cities and their economic development entities and saying, hey, do you have somebody there that you think needs a loan? Do you have a business that might need some help and might need some capitalization? Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of a it's kind of a system, if you will, the way that I look at this. And we're excited about this opportunity. We love the city of Elk Grove. We love the greater Sacramento area. We love the capital region. And we love the Sacramento Valley, but in specific terms, we're going to do whatever we can to reinvest that money back in where that municipality is located.
I love it. Now, this was, we talked about this being a genius idea, and I'm sitting here with Josh Wood, the architect behind this super innovative approach to getting us small business guys funded. Now, the goal is $1 billion here in the region. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, exactly. So what we're doing is we are asking all the cities to each play their part. Elk Grove was the first one to step up with $15 million. We're approaching Sac County, Yolo County, Placer County, all the different cities, counties, special districts within our region, and saying, step up, do your part, put money into this RISE program, and let's reinvest our money here. And with $1 billion every year, if 50% of that is being reinvested here, that's a $500 million economic development fund that we can use every single year to help grow jobs in this region.
And thinking about the jobs, and you're an economic growth expert with Region Business. You teach us all a lot of stuff over there. But what would $500,000 do? I mean, what kind of impact does that mean in terms of jobs? Is that 100,000 jobs, 1,000 jobs? What's that mean?
In my opinion, and there's no way to know because it's going to depend on the types of businesses and how the program plays out, but we're talking about thousands of jobs every single year that we're going to catalyze in this region through this program, and Elk Grove's the one who took the first step to make sure it happened.
What went into the decision making? Did you make that decision yourself, Pat, or did you bring in your team? I don't know how these decisions get made at a city.
So we had an audit committee meeting that heard the recommendation of the program. It consists of 2 council members, myself and the vice mayor. And when we heard the pitch, we had to kind of lead staff along a little bit. Financial folks within municipalities tend to be a belt and suspender crowd, for good reason.
Right.
You look at the Orange County derivatives that happened back in the 80s, $2 billion lost of public money. So they're trying to be fairly cautious, but it's collateralized money. It gets the same return that we would get if we went with the statewide fund, and we're keeping that money locally and helping our small businesses grow.
Yeah, so thinking about that, what would you say to the other municipalities as we wrestle, as the city of Roseville, Rockland, Sacramento, Folsom, as they wrestle with this sort of decision? I mean, what would you say to these guys?
They better get on board quick before we grow our fund so big James is too busy to take their money.
I love it. Now, James, so if I don't understand for sure the lending ratios that go into things, but if someone deposits, let's say, $15 million into your bank, what's that mean in terms of lending capacity? It bumps up your lending capacity quite a bit, right?
Oh, absolutely. The monies that we would receive in the case of Elk Grove, it's a deposit with us, and we turn around and take those deposit monies and make loans with it. So there's a kind of a system, if you will, that's kind of created through that, and it starts from the taxpayer, goes to the municipality, comes to the bank, then ultimately comes back to the taxpayer in terms of financing projects in which they can benefit from. So it's a really neat circle.
Yeah, it's incredible. Now, Josh, share with us a little bit more about the vision, and then what can we do as entrepreneurs, what can we do as citizens to take advantage and influence this?
Absolutely. The vision is that we have $1 billion a year in this region that we're putting into these banks to make sure that we're growing jobs. That's going to create $500 million a year at least of money that can be invested into businesses. We need every city, every county, every school district, every fire district, every parks district. You think of all the different layers of government, every single one of them has a role to play in this. And so what I'd ask is for people to be reaching out to their council members, to their county board of supervisors, all those elected officials that they walk into in the grocery store, and let them know that this is important, that they want our region to rise.
What's the pushback that you might get? Not as good at terms as with a large bank or something like that. What would be the pushback? It seems too easy.
In my mind, there's no logical pushback because the terms are the same, the money's collateralized, and it's being invested here. It only makes sense.
Yeah. Pat, any other thoughts about how because you guys could put more than $15 million in there. How is this going to work? Are you testing this? Is this going to be something you embrace more heavily as this begins to work?
I sure hope so. I mean, we started out with a number that we felt we could be comfortable with. And back to your question as far as pushback, the only pushback would be the availability of funds in the case of a catastrophe, right? That's why you have to have cash on hand. Something goes really wrong, you need some money today, you're going to put James and the other local banks in a hard place because they've counted on that deposit to be there in order to underwrite their loans. And so that's really the only pushback. But yeah, we'd like to grow it, I'd say double it at least.
Okay, yeah, it really is preparing for that possible, I guess, worst case scenario that we all know could occur. James, your thoughts, though, as this begins to happen and what it might look like for your clients, what it might look like for the region's growth.
Well, it could supercharge the region's growth over a period of years. It could provide the funding for a lot of new projects, a lot of existing business, giving them the growth capital. This could really move the needle from a jobs growth perspective and an economic development perspective. You know, this is new. Okay, absolutely, it's new. It's a new thing. As Pat mentioned, it's a safe and secure deposit. It's collateralized, and that's by state law. And so we think with this money, I know what we would do with it because we're very much focused here in the capital region. We don't like per se lend in a abroad or anything like that. We like to keep the money local in terms of making it work locally. And so we think that we have to put some metrics together, Josh, in terms of what this is going to do. To create some reporting associated with job growth in the various municipalities. And this is going to be exciting. And I hope there's a lot of inspection on this. I welcome it, frankly, because I think that we can really do something that's new and innovative and significant. And I want to thank the city of Elk Grove for really being a first adopter of this and really getting out in front of that. That shows innovation and entrepreneurship at the city level.
I could not agree more. And just thinking, we started off the show talking about customer, client-driven cultures, and it really feels like that's beginning to happen as the leaders of Sacramento, you all come together. It's like, how can we do this for what's right for the business community, what's right for the citizens, what's right for people who might be looking for a job. So I have to congratulate you on being focused on the client, which is today's show. Just I'm going to leave it up to Josh here. Any closing thoughts, Josh, as we go to break?
The program's called Responsible Investments for a Strong Economy because this is the region's best tool that we can use for economic growth.
I love it. When we return, I will be joined by two of the hottest realtors in Folsom, my business partners, Erica Kastner and Cassandra Nikolewski from Haney Garcia Realty Group. Join the revolution at HaneyBiz.com, courtesy of the Entrepreneurs Organization of Sacramento and law firm Greenberg Traurig. This is the Haney Biz Project.